This is No Frills ASMR. So in a couple of previous videos, I read part of this Mother Goose book and just read some of the, nursery rhymes. But I thought today maybe it would be kind of fun to look at, how people, more modern people, look at these rhymes and say, oh, that's about this or that's about that. And whether or not those theories are accurate doesn't really matter to us right now. I thought it would just be fun to kind of look at what people say some of these things might be about. And maybe we start with this one. I started to write it out and then I thought, oh, I should just wait and do it on camera. So this is Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and there are different versions of all these if you look back through time, and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. So I was looking at like some of the meanings of some of these, and of course this could just be about a gardener, a garden. That very well may be what it's about. But some people say Mary, Mary could be Queen Mary the First, who was known as Bloody Mary. Uh-oh. And that the silver bells and cockle shells were instruments of torture that she used. And then other people say it's a different Queen Mary. Let's take a look and see if she's in our Dictionary of Cultural Literacy. I actually didn't look for this one. I looked up Ring Around the Rosie. Hold on. Mary, 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 Mary. Okay, here we go. Mary. Mark, marriage. Mary, the wrong kind of Mary. Mars. Marshall. Martha. Uh-oh. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. Page 129. They probably won't tell us anything much. Let's see. I think that I must have allergies or something going on. My nose is itchy. Okay. What do we have here? Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells. They put one word. And pretty maids all in a row. That tells us nothing. Okay, hold on. I might have it here. Okay. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. There are several theories. One says Mary is Queen Mary the First, or Bloody Mary. Oh, okay, that's one. And the silver bells and cockle shells refer to instruments of torture or Catholic symbolism. Another says it's simply about gardening. Well, I must have already looked at that one. Okay, hold on. Let's go to this BBC article. There it is. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. May be about Bloody Mary, daughter of King Henry VIII, and concerns the torture and murder of Protestants. Queen Mary was a staunch Catholic, and her garden here is an allusion to the graveyards which were filling with Protestant martyrs. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to have to look at this BBC article. The silver bells were thumb screws, while cockle shells are believed to be instruments of torture, which were attached to the male genitals. What? Okay, that's the best description. All right, so there is one. I did see one about this little Jack Horner. Little Jack Horner sat in the corner eating a Christmas pie. He put in his thumb and pulled out a plum and said, "What a good boy am I." Well, let's see if BBC says anything about that. Hold on. I don't know if that makes you dizzy if I flip. So, nope. Okay. Well, I took a note here and it says, Little Jack Horner may have been a steward who stole valuable deeds. Okay, so he was in charge of delivering a pie to King Henry VIII, and he snuck valuable deeds in the pie for his monastery. So he must have been like a monk. And so the plum was keeping the land. So I don't know. He put the deeds in a pie and snuck them out of the castle. And it was the deed to the land that the monastery was on. And he said, "What a good boy am I." That was one thing I read. That's not as good as a cockle shell. All right, let's look. Because I marked one on here that I had notes on. Let's see. Hold on, let's look in here. I was surprised how few of the kind of major nursery rhymes that we're looking at were in here. But I did. This one. Okay. This one, Goosey Goosey Gander, is another tale of religious persecution, but from the other side. It reflects a time when Catholic priests would have to say their forbidden Latin-based prayers in secret, even in the privacy of their own home. Okay, let's read it and see what it's like. Goosey, goosey gander, where shall I wander? Upstairs, downstairs, and in my lady's chamber. There I met an old man that would not say his prayers. I took him by the left leg and threw him down the stairs. I mean, it's strange for sure. Here's what note I had. Goosey, Catholic priest, say forbidden Latin-based prayers in secret. Yeah, so I had kind of the same thing. I read this one thing they said. The British Society of Nursery Rhyme Reform, that went on until 1941, had tried to ban a lot of these nursery rhymes, including Humpty Dumpty, Three Blind Mice, and a lot of others. There were like 21 for harboring unsavory elements, but also for kind of ridiculing or sensationalizing poverty, ridiculing the blind. Oh, look at that, Three Blind Mice right here. Okay, so they say this is ridiculing the blind. Let's read ahead. Three blind mice, see how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife, who cut off their tails with a carving knife. Did you ever see such fools in your life? Three blind mice. And he's holding his tail. I don't know that's ridiculing the blind. I feel like this one probably is political. It's probably talking about something else. Let's see if the BBC says anything about Three Blind Mice. At the BBC. No, they don't. But right here, the darkest nursery rhymes. Hold on. Let me see if I can get internet in here and look it up. Because I feel like there's more to this Three Blind Mice situation. Blind mice meaning. Let's put that in. I'm sorry, my throat. It says here, Three Blind Mice, first published in 1609, is widely believed to be a dark political allegory about the staunchy Catholic Queen Mary I. Everything's about Queen Mary. The farmer's wife, who had three Anglican bishops, the Three Blind Mice, burned at the stake for heresy. heresy. Sorry, that's a British word that I don't know. During the English Reformation. It's not, it's an English word that I don't use every day. Let's put it that way. That sounds more likely to me. So, Queen Mary didn't like the Anglican bishops, who were the three blind mice. She's the farmer's wife. The bishops are the three blind mice. That sounds more interesting, doesn't it? Beyond literal lyrics, the phrase three blind mice has evolved into an idiom used to describe a group of people who are completely unaware, ignorant, or oblivious to the dangers or circumstances surrounding them. The term is also colloquially sorry, used in sports slang because there are historically three umpires or referees in a game like baseball, basketball, hockey. Fans and commentators use three blind mice as an insult to criticize officials making poor, unfair, or incorrect calls. Okay, that's interesting. All right. So that was kind of fun. Should we look it up in here? There's probably nothing else in here about that. Oops. What was I saving this page for? Oh, Ring Around the Rosie, I think. Or Rockabye Baby. I don't know. One of those. Three blind mice. Yep. Same. Nothing about it. I wish this gave more, like, information. Okay. So that was kind of interesting. I wonder if, let's look in the index. Let's see if London Bridge is in here. L-O. Long legs, crooked thighs. What? Might have to read that. No London Bridge. Guess that's not a Mother Goose. Let's see if it's in here. Hold on. I mean, I know it by heart, but there, actually I don't. I take that back because there's a lot more to it than you think, I think. Let's see, L, C, D, F, G, H, I, K, L, to go through the whole alphabet. It's here, right? Longfellow, London Bridge. Look, they do the short version. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. And we used to sing because you'd take hands and you'd go up above and the people go around. Did you guys do this? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I forgot about this. So you have two people and they have their hands up like this. And then you have a group of kids who run around in a circle. And you sing, London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. The bridge is falling down, my fair lady. And then you go, take the keys and lock her. And on lock, you put your hands down here and you catch one of the kids. And then you kind of swing them and go, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. That's what we used to do. I just remembered that right now. But the actual rhyme says stuff like, I forget, it's like, get some iron to build her up. And then it says gold to build her up, something like that. And some people think the whole rhyme is really just about building up a bridge, how they just keep falling down. You have to constantly be rebuilding it. But then there's another theory that London Bridge, well, let's see if the BBC, they'd probably say it better than I will. Hold on. Sorry, I have to keep going back. Nope. They don't have it. Okay. But I read that London Bridge might be about, well, it could be about the Vikings came and they killed a bunch of people and they threw them at the bottom of this bridge. But then there was another one that said that in order for London Bridge to stay standing, they had to make a human sacrifice to keep the bridge from falling. And it's about putting bodies at the bottom of the bridge to build it up. What? That sounds far-fetched, but I read it. Okay, let's see. What other one does the BBC talk about? Lady Locket. Let's see if we have that in here. I don't know that one, I don't think. Lady Locket. Lady Bird. Nope. Let's see if it's in here. Go back to the nursery rhymes. Uh-oh, where'd my bookmark go? There it is. All right. L-A-B-C-D, lady. No, they don't. Lady, dost protest too much? Nope, they don't have it, so I don't know Lady Locket. They say Lady Lucy Locket. I was looking up the wrong thing. Sorry. Hold on. Let's double check Lucy. This book is falling apart. It's very, very, very old. Lucy Locket's in here. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Lucy Locket is page 40. Okay. 40. Here it is. Lucy Locket lost her pocket. Kitty Fisher found it. There was not a penny in it, but a ribbon round it. What do they say that's about? Lucy Locket is about a famous spat between two legendary 18th century prostitutes. Oh, I'd like to know more about that. What about Little Miss Muffet? It must be about... Okay. They say, here we go round the mulberry bush. Let's see if that's in here. Sorry, it's got a lot of stuff in here, so I can't just flip through. It'd take forever. Okay, here goes my lord. Here sits Lord Mayor. Let's look under mulberry bush, maybe. That's a problem. They could have different names in here, I think. I don't see it. Do you guys see it? Mary multiplication. Nope. I don't see it. Here we go around the mulberry bush. I'm trying to remember that one. Okay, let's look in here. Let's just double check this book. Do you think it's under Here We Go? I don't see it, you guys. What is Here We Go? All right, let's Google it. Sorry. Since my Wi-Fi seems to be working today. Can you find Here We Go round the mulberry bush? I'll talk to it. That's quicker than me typing. I'm asking Google AI. Let's see how he does. Ooh. He doesn't give us the actual poem. What? Traditional English nursery rhyme. Let's go to here. Nope, that doesn't work. Nope. That's one thing about, I don't like that you can't add to it. Here we go around the mulberry bush. Okay, full lyrics. Here we go. It's a song. Oh gosh, it's long. We'll just read the beginning. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush so early in the morning. This is the way we wash our clothes, wash our clothes, wash our clothes. This is the way we iron our clothes. This is the way we mend our clothes. This is the way we sweep the floor. This is the way we scrub the floor. This is the way we bake our bread. This is the way we go to church. Okay, that seems simple enough. I don't believe there's a bad meaning to it. Let's find out. Okay, here we go around the mulberry bush originated, according to historian R.S. Duncan, at Wakefield Prison in England, where female inmates had to exercise around a mulberry tree in the prison yard. Oh, okay, I guess I believe that. They just made up a little song to go with like a dance routine or whatever you want to call it. Okay. Oranges and lemons. Never heard of that one. Let's see. Oranges. Nope. Oranges and lemons. You guys ever heard of that? I have not. I have not. Whoops, what am I doing? I didn't even remember. Oranges. They don't have it in here. I don't think I've ever heard of oranges and lemons. What do they say? Oranges and lemons follows a condemned man en route to his execution. What? Okay, let's look it up. Could you find me the words to oranges and lemons nursery rhyme? Could you find me the words to oranges and lemons nursery rhyme? Oh gosh, that's too much. Hold on. What do you think Wikipedia would have the words? Here we go. Oranges and lemons, say the bells of St. Clemens. You owe me 5 farthings, say the bells of St. Martin. When will you pay me, say the bells at Old Bailey. When I grow rich, say the bells at Shoreditch. When will that be, say the bells of Stepney. I do not know, says the great bell at Bow. Here comes a candle to light you to bed, and here comes a chopper to chop off your head. Chip, chop, the last man is dead. Okay, admittedly, that sounds pretty bad. Sounds like trouble. Let's see what they say. Oranges and lemon follows a condemned man en route to his execution. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head, past a slew of famous London churches, St. Clement's, St. Martin's, Old Bailey, Bow, Stepney, and Shoreditch. Oh yeah, look, they're playing. Oh no, they're doing that to oranges and lemon, and then they chop off your head. Such fun. Oranges and Lemons has inspired a children's game in which kids try to avoid being caught by the executioner's axe as a chop, chop, chop is shouted. That is fun. Yeah, see, that's how we did London Bridge. Anyway, okay, that's cute. Didn't know that. Okay, they say also... Well, let's do this one while I have this book out. Okay. Ring Around the Rosie. A children's rhyme, also known as Ring Around the Rosie. Yeah, they say ring a roses. Ring a roses. I said ring around the Rosie. Ring a roses, a pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Now, from the time I was a little kid, actually, we should look in here and see if it's in here too, but my mom always told me that was about, I think the plague is what she said, and that seems to be what people say. It says, ring around the roses, or ring around the Rosie, maybe about the 1665 Great Plague of London. I've also heard it's about the Black Death, which I did a video about if you're curious. The rosies being the malodorous rash that developed on the skin of the bubonic plague sufferers, the stench of which then needed concealing with a pocket full of posies, which were like potpourri that you'd carry so you wouldn't smell it. And later, when they did the plague masks, those like crow's masks. I heard they put a pocket full of posies in the beak so they wouldn't smell all the rotting. Okay. The stench of which needed concealing with a pocket full of posy. Okay, so ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posy. Ashes, I have heard, is the burning of all the corpses, because there were so many corpses they had to burn them. And then we all fall down was because it killed like, a third of the population. So we all fall down. What do they say? The bubonic plague killed 15% of Britain's population, hence, at to shoe, we all fall down dead. Okay. I've heard different things. See, we always said ashes. And so my mom said that was the burning of the corpses, I think. Or somebody told me that. At to shoe, some people feel like is like sneezing or coughing. But I've never heard that word in any of the versions I know personally. And then we all fall down. So that's like a good one. Let's see. Is Ring Around the Rosie in here? What is the other name it can be called? Ring-a-ring. No, I'm surprised. Ring the Bell. Nope. I don't see it in here. Okay, hold on. We best write that in our book. Ring-a-ring. What do we like better? Ring-a-ring or ring around? Ring-a-ring. A rosies. A pocket full of posies. I like ashes better. Ashes. We all fall down. And then we better put a guy going, oh no, I'm dead. Why is he smiling? No, he's not smiling. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, a pocket full of posies. Ashes, we all fall down. Bloody Mary, maybe. Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells, and pretty maids all in a row. The other thing I heard was that it could be about, I forget which queen, one of the queens. And she married into, I don't know, I'll probably have this wrong, but Protestant, maybe with France. I don't know all my European stuff. And so she was trying to grow the Protestant religion. And the pretty maids all in a row were like new churches she was opening. Something like that. I forget exactly. It was something like that. Not quite as dark as a cockle shell. Let's see. Did I have anything else? I think that's all the ones. So, if you're curious what this book is like, it was published in, I think 18. I know it says. Hold on, let me check if it's here. 1938 by the Heritage Club. And it is really falling apart. But if you're curious and want to hear some of these, I've made 2 videos. You could look up Mother Goose, No Frills ASMR and find it. And I just read them. But one day we'll come and read some more. Look at that one. That's an interesting picture. Dr. Foster went to Gloucester in a shower of rain. He stepped in a puddle up to his middle and never went there again. Wow. That's where we have family who lives there. Actually, they moved now to Spain. So we're going to go visit them in Spain. But that's where they did live. frog would a wooing go? A frog would a wooing. I don't know. A wooing. Oh, a wooing. Like he's wooing a girl. Okay. To market. Look at the kitty. It looks like Cooper. Except skinny. Poor Cooper. Hark, hark. The dogs do bark. The beggars are coming to town. Some in rags, some in jags, and some in velvet gowns. Beggars who don't really need the money. I'm sure a lot of these have so many meanings. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed that. To find more rhymes we can write out. Ring a rosy, a pocket full of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. We used to, that just reminded me, when we do this one, you'd get a group of kids in a circle. All these things you forget when you're an adult. And you'd all hold hands. Okay. And then you'd go in a circle and sing, ring around a rosy pocket full of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. And then you all fall down into sitting. That was the whole game, as I recall. I don't know, were there people running on the outside who'd go in the middle? I can't remember. Wait a minute, let me think about that. Did you do it like ring around the rosy? I don't think so, but it could be fun. You have people who run around the outside. Pocket full of posy, ashes. And then right at ashes, ashes, they're allowed to run in the middle, but they have to be out before they all fall down.